guys, welcome back. So you want to be a hacker, huh? All right, guys. So today, what we're going to focus on is some of the most basic critical commands, being able to go ahead and navigate through your Kali Linux machine. For those of you who don't know, Kali Linux machine is basically, I honestly think it's the go-to OS for what would be cybersecurity. At least that's what it seems to be. That's what I see that a lot of people are navigating towards. I know there's a lot of other variations. There's a lot of other OSs. Some people are creating new tools every single day, but nonetheless, Kali Linux seems to be one where you should know, you should master, and it seems like it's going to go ahead and be your best friend. I do have some notes. Some of this are based on some of the Udemy courses that I take. Cyber Kill Chain Framework. I don't think we should talk about that today, but I do want to just introduce that. It's kind of like the framework, such as the CIA Triad. Mind you, I'm just coming out of getting my CompTIA Security Plus certification, so I'm a big believer in frameworks. Some of the stuff that I learned today was based on the Complete Ethical Hacking Bootcamp on that Udemy course. And now I'm just literally documenting what I've learned. That way I know, hey, this is definitely something you want to know, because this is something that they went ahead and emphasized. And nonetheless, being able to get into and navigate the Kali Linux OS is critical. So let's go ahead and let's show you what you would typically do, right? We're not in our Windows machine, we're on our Kali Linux, but nonetheless, let's pretend it's Windows for a quick second. What most people would do, because everything's GUI based, right? That's what made Windows so predominant. It was GUI based. But believe it or not, as a hacker, you want to get in really comfortable with your command line. So going back to this, notice here, I go to this home looking folder, okay, and I see desktop documents, downloads, public pictures, music, templates, videos. That's literally what extremely similar to what you would see with regards to Windows, right? I go to the documents folder, I go to right click, I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to type in notes. Okay, we're just going to name it notes. I create the folder. Now I go in the folder and I go ahead and say, hey, I want to create a new document. We'll create an empty file. We're going to call this, let's call it day zero. Okay, day zero, create. And I'm going to now go into that file. Now I'll type in and say something like, hi, this is entry level IT. I go to file. I'm going to hit the save as. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So I'm here. I click enter. A file name does already exist. You want to replace it? We'll replace it because I have this. Now, if I exit out of there, just double check. I click on day zero and voila. This is entry level IT. So we did all of that, right? That was the GUI based. Now, when it comes to the command line, okay, we're going to do that same exact process. Okay, the only difference is we're going to use the command line. Okay, and I do have some notes. I'm a big believer in notes. And the more you memorize, the less notes you need. But nonetheless, we'll just keep it here as a North Star, so to speak. So notice here, the first thing that I did, I might have done that too fast. I go to this terminal looking thing here, and it literally is named Terminal Emulator. So I'm going to click on the terminal emulator. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to say, who am I? Okay, it's going to let you know, hey, you're Kali using the Kali OS. Okay, the next thing I'm going to type in is PWD, which stands for Print Working Directory. This lets you know where you are. So I go to Print Working Directory. It's saying, hey, you're at the home /Kali. I'm going to click LS to list the directories. Okay, so there's desktop, documents, downloads, music, sort of similar to what we saw in the GUI. I'm going to click CD, change directory, and I want to go into documents. So I click documents. I'm going to go ahead, click enter. I'm going to click LS. It says, hey, you have a directory named notes. Notice here, it's in blue and it says notes. So let me get into that directory. I'm going to go notes. Okay. Well, now if I click PWD, it's going to say, hey, you're at the home Kali documents notes. Okay. So now I'm going to click LS. Let's go ahead and notice that I have a file named day zero. If I click on cat and click on day zero, that's going to let me know what exactly is on that folder. Okay, so we're just going through that. I'm going to click cd ... cd ... cd dot dot, and where am I now? So I'm going to print pwd. I'm at home. I actually want to cd into Cali so I can get back to where I was. So pwd. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and emulate exactly what we did using the GUI system. I just, the commands that I gave you were more so to just verify, but nonetheless, so just always a good time to check pwd. We're going to list. Okay, so I'm going to cd into the documents, doc. I'm going to type in tab to autofill. Now I'm going to go ahead and list. Okay, I have notes. Let me create a new directory. I'm going to go ahead and say mkdir, and we're going to call this notes 2. Okay, so I'm going to make the directory. Once I make the directory, I want to change my and navigate towards that directory. So I'm going to go cd notes 2. I'm going to pwd, print working directory. Okay, cool. I'm in the right spot. Now, there's a couple different things I can do. In order for me to create a file, because there's multiple ways, but one of those ways is the touch. So I click on touch. I'm going to call this day 0. Okay, so touch day 0. Notice here on the notes, you have the command touch, the file name. You can name the file whatever you like. So once I get there, I'm going to go to cat day 0 to see what's in the file. And as you would expect, there's nothing in the file. We just literally created the file. And that cat command lets you know what's in that file, which nothing's there. In order for me to actually type something into that file, I'm going to type in echo, and it's going to say, hi, hi, this is entry level IT. Okay. Nonetheless, I'm out of caps, but okay. Hi. So we go there. Now I'm going to go back to, yep, I did hit the caps. So now I'm going to go back to cat day 0, and notice I must have mistyped something. You know what I did wrong right here? I hit the echo, which is the command. I typed what I wanted, right? But what I didn't do was actually inform this to the file. So I got to go back. So I got to go back to echo. I'm going to hit tab. I guess it didn't auto populate. If I hit the right key, hi, this is entry level IT. I need this. Okay. I need the greater than symbol, and the file that we named was day 0. So I go ahead and do that. Now, if I hit the cat day 0, it's going to go ahead and say, hi, this is entry level IT, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. And if we go back and we check our GUI, I go to home, I go to documents, and what should we expect? We should expect 2 directories. Notes, this was the one that we created with the GUI. Notes 2, which is what we created with the command line. And we go to day 0, I click on that, and it says, hi, this is entry level IT. Okay, so that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we set out to do. So notice here how you can go ahead, and the opportunity to maneuver is a lot faster on what would be the command line. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why the command line is heavily emphasized. And nonetheless, you don't have to have literally everything that you need to do. You don't need 100 tabs open, so to speak. Everything you can do, you can go ahead and do on the command line. So let's go ahead. Let's actually leave it there. I think that was simple. That was a basic, super introduction. No, you know what? I Never mind. I have one last thing to show you. I'm gonna go. Let's do the nano, because I feel like the nano was a heck of a lot helpful than the touch and cat and whatnot. So I'm gonna go print working directory. Let's go to list. Right, we're gonna cd to our documents. I like to go ahead, just type in cd doc and then tab so it can autofill. And then I'm gonna go ahead, click list. Remember, we have 2 directories. Let's go to notes 2. Okay, but we need to cd into notes 2. Now we're here. Let's go to list. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to create another file. And the way I'm going to do it is with nano, which me personally, that's something I like. I'm going to say day 0 and I'm going to call it nano. Okay, day 0 nano. I'm going to hit enter. And notice it gets me to this text editor. And the reason why I like this is because this, as you can see, this gives the opportunity to have more control with regards to the text. Okay, and mind you, you can always make it look pretty. Go ahead, hit enter, something like math, or you could type in whatever you want, right? And nonetheless, that's going to go ahead and be saved by, notice here at the bottom it says control. That arrow sign here is control X. We're going to hit yes. We're going to go ahead and file name to write, hit enter. And now when I click on list, okay, notice that I have day 0 and I have day 0 nano. I want to see what we have typed in on day 0 nano. So I click on cat. I go to day 0 nano. Okay, enter, and it says, as you can see, this gives the opportunity to have more control with regards to text. Okay, and you could type a lot more. I see that as a lot more beneficial. That's something that I'm leaning more towards. Okay, let's see what else we have. Let's go ahead, let's do this. Let's go ahead, since we like nano better, let's list this again. Let's go back to our command line. Let's go to list, and notice we have day 0 nano. So we're going to go ahead, and if we go to what would be, first, let's clean up day 0 nano. So notice the CD isn't going to go ahead and work. Okay, if I go to day 0 nano, because it's not a directory. So in order for me to go ahead and get into day 0, I have to just type in day 0 nano, day 0 nano, and it should go ahead and bring up that file. Or actually, excuse me, it's actually nano day 0 nano. Yeah, I totally goofed up on that. Nonetheless, the nano calls the text editor, right? So we're going to clean this up here, and we're here. There we go. So control exit, save, yes. Now if I go to cat, day 0 nano, we should have cleaned up that text, which, as you can see, that text is no longer there. Yeah, I completely messed up on that. It should have been the nano day 0. You don't want to type in CD to a file because it's a file. It's not a directory. CD is only for directories. Nonetheless, let's go to list, and we can see we still have day 0. We still have day 0 nano. If I go into what would basically be to remove the file, I'm going to use the RM. I go RM day 0. Okay, and that's going to remove that file. So now if I go back to my LS to list the files, okay, you're going to see that there's only one file, day 0 nano. And let's go to print working directory. That lets us know where we are. Home, Kali, documents, notes. Let's get into our documents. So in order to move a directory back, cd ... Now we are going to press PWD. We're on the home Kali documents. We can list to see what exactly is on that document. Notice we created those two directories, notes, which was created via GUI, and notes 2, which was created what would be our command line. So I know it's super simple. I know we're not hacking anything, guys, but this is important information with regards to being able to navigate towards Kali Linux. Okay, you should be comfortable with these commands, being able to use these commands. Okay, who am I? PWD cd space ... ls, creating a file via either touch or nano. Me personally, I like the nano. I like the text editor type of feel, and I know that I feel like I can do a lot more with that. But nonetheless, touch to create the file, echo to add things into that file, cat to read the file. Okay, to make a directory, we made the directory with mkdir. You can name it folder, you can name it whatever you want. Ls to list things that are in that file, that directory, that directory. We didn't move anything, we didn't copy anything, but we went ahead and did remove files and whatnot. Let's leave it there just for the sake of simplicity. I think this is pretty good, a good starting point. The next thing we're going to go ahead and focus on is going to be what would be the cyber kill chain framework. I know, right? Cyber kill chain framework, more specifically with reconnaissance. But nonetheless, in order for us to do that, we have to be able to navigate through what would be Kali Linux. So, with that being said, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one.